Hello, this is George Sandman. I'm the founder and CEO of Growth Drive. And Growth Drive is a system used by business advisors to drive client profits, growth, and value. Now, we're also a community. Every week we get together to talk about all things business advisor, everything clients, cases, things we're seeing out in the world. Now, tune in here to this podcast, and you can join the conversation by scanning this QR code, passcode 867-5309. Jump into the conversation. Everyone's welcome. We're looking forward to having you. So here we go. On with the show.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning. That thing I texted you this morning about the difference between the amount of spend versus actual ROI.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So, Stephen, George and I have already been riffing this morning. So,
yeah. So you're already warmed up.
Yeah. So you coming to the summit?
I'm going to try to. I am more cash constrained than ever. So I need that first client.
You got married.
If I can't get things moving, then I can't get anything moving.
Yeah. Amen, brother.
You got married.
Anything we can do to help, Stephen, anything I can do to help, let me know. Okay.
Well, like anything would be get him a client, for God's sake.
Fair point.
No, I am.
I have a bucket of clients. Well, there is a direct correlation between being active in the community and winning clients. And that is a relationship thing. That guy's,
no, it is. And
in fact,
I'm seeing that. What are you thinking?
In fact,
All right, here you go.
I have to make a phone call because I think I have an idea for you. So,
you guys see this?
who the hell's that guy?
That is a circa 2021 guy.
Ooh, handsome devil. Okay, I can't read this at a glance because it looks like it's just meaty, human to human.
That mug is a little warped. If you want criticism, it's constructive criticism, but I'll break this down for you to make it better. The mug's a little warped.
How can you tell OCD? Ladies and gentlemen, we're about to have a demonstration.
Well, it's more like you want it to be real, right? You don't want people to be hung up on any AI generation.
Well, if you're in my target market, it would be more important.
That's fair. That's fair.
Mitch
That is
Schuyler,
fair.
good morning. Ed, good morning, guys. How are you?
Honestly, I like it though. I like the layout was very good.
Busy. It's way too busy.
It is busy,
but it's intriguing, right?
I did not go. If it's something you're interested, it makes you lean in.
So that is the synthesis. So I took my, I record a video every morning. So I took my video from this morning. I said, create me an infographic. And now I'll be like, now create me an infographic that won't cause seizures.
No animals were harmed.
Because if Tim looked at that, he might, go straight grand mal.
Tim's twitching anyhow, just because you said his name. Good morning, Tim. How are you, man?
Doing well. How are you all doing?
Doing well. So what's on everybody's mind this morning?
Not so scary.
Zoom out. I'm going to see you tomorrow, right?
That's right.
I'm going to see this guy tomorrow. Ed Wonky, good morning.
How come Mitch is being unfriendly? That's what
He's not being unfriendly. The man's on the call.
Unfriendly?
Yeah.
Like you're casting aspersions at my true intentions.
It's pronounced nasturtiums.
I am irresponsibly denigrating your character.
I am. I could show you the inside of my car and the seatbelt and the rain in Atlanta.
Rain in Atlanta. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Like, Paul wants to see that.
Where is?
Yeah.
I just can look out the window here and see rain. I don't need to look there.
There he is. So guys, I was sharing with what does anybody have a burning hot question? Because I was about to just start riffing and Mike is going to yell taco at me.
George, I have one quick one. I sent you an email yesterday, but I wasn't sure it was a clarity issue that I had or a question. Is that the right way to do it? You don't have to answer it on this call, but I didn't know if there was like a support. It was more of a support issue.
Did it have the Philippines email address?
No, I don't. We don't. we don't, all customer success is handled here in the United States. Okay, Mitch, it's going to take some digging. The reason you didn't hear back from me is that it's not in my inbox. So I will find it. You sent it. I have it. Thank you.
Okay.
By the way, this is a
No,
prime
no.
example of what's going on with email right now. Right now.
Ah, really? Okay.
Yeah. What's happened is there's such a bombardment. Has anybody seen World War Z? To think of those people climbing the wall, that's what AI is trying to do right now. It's trying to get inside the compound everywhere. And so the poor ISPs, and even at the pre-ISP level, right before it even gets out to the service providers, email is getting just they're caught between the devil and the deep blue sea. So the filters, the mesh is now so fine that emails between people who email each other all the time are going, yeah, we're not going to give you that. So
Mitch, do what I do. Text them at 4 a.m.
I think it was 4:03, Mike. I think it was 4:03. Literally.
I don't
And
text
amen, brother.
that early though.
I have a special filter for Mike. Not
Not
4:03.
I can only imagine what the tone is when Mike texts you. I don't even want to guess on that one.
Mitch, it's very respectful. So that's what you get for that's what I get. It's a good thing. So
George, is a new white paper already out? Is it already published?
So I put it in the community. So yes, and it is proofread and it's been gone through by several people with a fine-tooth comb. And so we just wrapped up the Spoleto Performing Arts Festival. My wife works for the festival. She helps lead it, and it is fantastic. Now, when you look at a show up on the stage, when you look at chamber music that is composed, last week or 200 years ago, it is arranged, it is then practiced. When you look at theater, anything you've seen on Broadway got workshopped for years before it made it to Broadway, first off Broadway, then on Broadway, right? We're doing the same. This is how I approach these big white papers. So, Tim, long-winded answers. Yes, it's out there. It's shareable. I am shipping it out to the people who might get value from it. However, I continue to take comments, to workshop it, to take in input, especially it's a parsing it line by line. That's a style thing, but big ideas, concepts, hits, misses. You blow V8 here, you need to expand there. That feedback is the reason I hang it online is that I'm able to go and iterate it, and it's never going to be rewritten from whole cloth. So you can always be confident that the copy is going to be, if you say, hey, this is relevant to X, that will not change. Unless you have something completely arcane that I didn't intend. But Tim, so yes, but no. How's that?
Yeah, I listened through your podcast where you walked through it, and it struck me immediately. There's a few people that would benefit from previewing this thing, even if it's in an early draft form, on refining form before your visit next week. So
I'm sending it. So I was going to share it with our mutual friend, and I was going to share it with our mutual friend. But I was planning on calling you today anyhow, Tim. So
right.
I'll give you a call.
All right.
And feel free to share it. Share it it's published, right? Share it with the world. It's interesting, guys. The reaction has been very, very positive, right? How do we bring efficiency to the private capital markets, which is what we're doing? We talk about doing it on the client's behalf, but what if the market was cooperating and or collaborating and could see the world through our eyes? And that is a message that's landing. So
I found it stunning. Stunning at a high level magnitude, like a top of the Richter scale stuff, because I think we're moving into an environment, like a playing field that needs help, and we've got the capability to make a difference. So
you almost said capacity.
almost. I'm saving that for you.
I loaded it directly into several of my co-work projects as a major reference document. So I take all of George's white papers and I put them into appropriate projects and then use that, like all the stuff. George is helping me on a big personal project for me. And that paper, George, and you knew this, but it went right into that project about what I'm working on. And I'm like, okay, here it is from the horse's mouth about strategic capacity on a business side. How do we then, and it's invaluable. But that's the thing, is don't just read those things, but filter them into a strategic process that you have within AI to challenge your thinking, to expand your thinking, to look beyond. And I will say that 2 years in, as a disciple of Mr. Weevil, Sensei Weevil, right, and Sensei Sandman, I've got my AI trained to where I am really impressed with it catching strategic thinking errors of mine far earlier in my process.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. And I'm hopefully signing up. Well, sorry, different topic. So thank you. Thank you, Mike. And there are a bunch of implications. So imagine, guys, let's talk about implication number one. So for anybody listening to this who isn't familiar with the white paper, the title is The Asset Class Standard: How Strategic Capacity Quantification Improves Private Capital Market Efficiency, right? And the argument in the paper, or the argument in the paper is that imagine if the buy side, pre-LOI, pre-commitment of resources, understood how to, go ahead.
That's an important distinction, pre-LOI.
Yeah, pre-LOI, because that's where the inefficiency, that's where the monster crawls out of the jar, right? Because in pre-LOI, you have the sellers saying, all right, we're going to create a SIM, confidential information memorandum. We're going to prepare the financials to support that SIM. We have a thesis as to why someone would acquire this business. We have gone out and solicited interest from, that's what M&A bankers do, right? They go out and they shop the deal, as they should. They do a great job, right? And everybody, by the way, I want to get in front of this. There is no implication that there's anything nefarious or in bad faith in the current process. However,
it's just seller-led.
It's seller-led. And so by the time somebody says, yeah, wow, we looked at the SIM, this is the kind of deal that our investment fund exists to fund and reap a return. Great. Unfortunately, it is not until after they've issued an LOI, after they're inside the gate, that they then start getting a good sense of the operational realities on the ground. So how do we fix that? Imagine if the buyers pre-LOI had an independent review of strategic capacity, and the sellers pre-SIM also did an analysis of strategic capacity. That would allow them to crow about their strengths and create a strategic plan to use of funds, et cetera, and to perhaps better identify buyers who are going to be successful, because it's the success rate. M&A success rate is dismal. Dismal. And it's dismal on both sides. So I'll stop there.
Can we pull Ed in on this?
You got to yell taco at me, Mike.
So Ed, I was, the whole time George was talking, which was a while, but the whole time he was talking I was thinking, like, Ed, from your experience being in valuation, do you see possible conflicts of interest if you've got a growth driver trying to handle both sides? Help the buyer prepare to get to an 85 level of strategic capacity, and then trying to help, like, do we need to have two growth drivers running analysis? How do we do that, Ed?
We don't want to, in my opinion, because the biggest part when you're looking at the buyers don't realize that when they're only looking at the numbers and financials of how they're evaluating a potential opportunity, they lack the human capital sector and its impact on the effectiveness of the business, which is what the growth drive can put forth and allow a seller to significantly enunciate why their business is more valuable than just the numbers. Because if you looked at the numbers, the multiple may be, let's say, 4 EBITDA. But when you look at the growth drive input of what we've done, the operation is now so significantly enhanced that it's worth 7 or 8 on the multiple. And then what you're starting doing is now we start negotiating, because the numbers people think it's only 4, but they have no clue how to operate that business. And the operations people say, but let me show you how it's worth 7 to 8, and having the growth drive as the support. If you look at the investment people, for them to apply and use our growth driver methodology, they don't want to do the human side of it. They only want to do the number cranking side, because their people are, that organization is numbers driven, and they don't have people that actually understand the implications of organizational, operational, and effectiveness and teamwork.
Man, why do I keep thinking of Eric and Paul now? Like, I'd love to.
Eric will jump in and probably bounce off of that one in a big way.
Yeah.
So Ed, and Mike, just as we've talked previously, that the seller should do a quality of earnings before they put the the business up for sale. So should they do a growth drive, and then they can use that in their sim. They can use it in their teaser sheet too.
Yes.
That's where I've been engaged by buyers who had me go in and do the growth drive assessment. And it's amazing when you do the growth drive assessment and the buyers have not done anything other than the number crunching. You bring to light issues that the numbers weren't revealed. And when they made a site visit to meet with the owner, they never picked up any of those challenges, because they didn't get into the detail. They were looking at the 30,000 foot level only.
Yeah. So, like, Eric, this is my question, Eric and Paul and anyone else, but like, it's almost like whichever person hires the growth driver, when we've got this 85 standard, right? If the M&A is hiring an Ed or an Eric or a Tim, right, to go in and pre-LOI assess, then that's going to be a massive advantage for the seller, for the buyer, right? But then part of me is like, well, how, like, should somebody be helping that buyer? And to your point, it's like, I don't think that works. 2 growth drivers.
I don't see how a buyer pre-LOI can do an assessment on a potential acquisition through Growth Drive. Because you need the NDA that you get in that process before they would open up.
That's what I had, and I got an NDA to
read the
NDA to get in and do it.
And if you read the paper, I did a lot of thinking on exactly that point.
Eric,
it's a great point, Paul. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is I think this is akin to having selling your house and having doing an inspection, having an inspection done as the seller of your house, and then just laying that out there for everybody to see. Look, furnace is good, roof is good. Like, hey, there's a couple little things that need to be fixed. But you know, they're all fixable, right? And now everybody has the right information to make the decision, right? And I don't want to oversimplify it, but what we're talking about is putting all the information out there that people can make a decision from. Now, should that be available to every buyer at, you know, I think maybe there's I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud now, because I haven't really gone down this path a lot, but I'm thinking, is this an IOI kind of level between IOI and LOI versus everybody who's in, you don't want everybody who's interested in the business to come along and say, I want to do a clarity level 1 on you, right? Like you'd have 200 people coming to you and saying, I want to do a clarity level 1. And how do you filter those? Part of the filtering process is going through the LOI process to get to the serious buyers who then you want to decide which of them can do it. And so I'm just, as I'm thinking about this, there's some challenges. The process has to change a little bit if it's going to come from the buyer side. If it's going to come from the seller side, it looks, to Paul's point, it looks a lot more like somebody just doing a quality of earnings as a seller and then presenting that as part of the package that you can look at after you've raised your hand and said, yeah, I'm willing to sign the NDA and get the SIM, right? And with the SIM, you get the clarity level 1 and you get the quality of earnings, and now you get the ability to look at all the information you might need to make a smarter, more tactical. And by the way, you also accomplish the fact of filtering out some people who are going to say, oh, they have this problem, I don't want to deal with that. Like, I hate doing plumbing, so I'm not going to take that one because I don't like doing plumbing and I don't want that one, right?
I love that, Eric. 2 comments. 1, absolutely right on the sell side QB, increasing a tendency of people to do that. And we have the data. Bob Dunn, GF Data, now C-suite at ACG. We all love the ACG. Has made that point. You're getting better, you're getting higher valuation when you show up with a sell side QB. I forget the number right now, 15%.
Wow.
Look it up.
Wow, that's significant.
Yeah, that's
not insignificant. Yeah.
Now imagine having a sell side analysis, and I was going like this because level 2, sell side level 2 analysis.
Yeah,
of
right.
strategic
And it could be
capacity.
level 1, it could be level 2. Anything would be better than nothing because now you've got some direction that tells you what's going on, right?
And there are a couple of things that were in my brain, and in the brain. I discussed this with many of you. So there's the other, like, you're the seller. You come to me, the acquiring, and say, "Hey, man, you want to bid on this deal?" I'm like, "Sure." You know what I would like? I'd like an afternoon with the senior leadership team, and during that afternoon, I would just want to get a pre-due diligence look at the business. Now I'm spitballing here, okay? I'm not. This is not a script. I'm spitballing. We would like to get before we make an offer, or we sign an LOI. We would like to get an afternoon with the senior leadership team to have a great understanding about the operational quality of the business. And we are willing to accept, we do not expect perfect operational quality. We simply need to understand where the risks are before you waste time with us and we invest time with you. And I think that's a reasonable approach. The other is the numbers. The sell side has to substantiate the numbers, right? Audited financials, Q of E. The sell side ultimately needs to substantiate the quality of the operation. And that is what due diligence is designed to do, right? It's like, oh yeah, you're the greatest? Great. Prove it.
Prove it.
Prove it. We're going to give you a lot of money. And if you can't prove it, we're going to take a little money off the table. That's exactly what we're talking about. No behavioral changes. Go ahead, Mike.
I was going to say, take a little off the table multiple times.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. We're gonna death by 1,000 cuts.
Yeah, like when I think about this, and I'm talking to people that may do this later. Like, we have the usual suspects on this call, but like I would dream of doing that analysis myself. I would not dream of doing that. I would turn directly to people on this call, right? Eric, Ed, Paul, maybe Tim. I don't know. No, but seriously,
Definitely.
I mean, because that for me represents liability problems, because I just don't have that finance background, either experientially or professionally, that some of my friends on this Zoom do. But that doesn't mean I won't be involved in a conversation. What it means is I'll be involved in the conversation briefly.
Well, And I'd like to put an admonition out there. I'm going to pick up on something that Mike, not an admonition, a suggestion. Those of you and people out in the world watching this, please go to the Growth Drive, growth-drive.com website, grab a copy of the white paper, then feed it into Claude, Chat, Perplexity, whatever you happen to be using, and ask the project, your project that understands you, how this might, not is, might be relevant and irrelevant. What are the pros and cons? And apply it to whatever your specialty is. And I would be fascinated. And then please, if you have questions, comments, please, I'm so easy to email. Everyone on this call knows. Use
Text
this
them.
thing. Remember what this is? It's a phone. So please.
But I think this is a perfect case for collaboration, because what I believe you've done by introducing the 85 concept, right?
Yep.
What I believe you've done is you've created a stake on a hill. You planted a flag on a hill in our industry, which the cockroaches will scurry away from the light, right?
Yeah.
Thinking of various companies, but like you've now established a standard, right? You've established a standard for performance of the seller, right? And I believe that has a requisite obligation on the growth driver. And so for me, as an architect slash educator within our concept, like I'll introduce this concept, but like the second it starts to look like this is real, I am bringing in post haste someone that I know has the deep financial background to be able to, in my opinion, have something that is going to not embarrass me later on. Like, Eric, I know from working with Eric would vast be an appropriate descriptor, Eric? Eric
Yes.
has a vast amount of skill, expertise at the financial aspects of a real business than I do, period.
Most people only have BS up to here. I have it all the way up to here.
Immersed.
Like, I wear sandals because my BS.
You're full of it, huh?
Yes.
But this
Right to the tip.
this is another level for the professionalism of our designation, of
Yeah.
our
Yes.
everything.
So
And I think we need to, like, all I'm hearing, I'm not dissuaded in any way by this, but like, I'm like, Mike, this is bitching. You're not doing it. Like you're gonna partner with friends, thank God, that are in this community, that are established, that give, that are participating, and you are gonna make sure that you're involved in deals larger than you should be, strictly because of other people's expertise.
George, thank you for putting this flag on the hill, because I think it helps not only the buyers out there and the sellers out there do a better job of getting to the result that they should get to.
They want, and they all want.
It helps.
Mhm.
It helps give a sign. Look, I've had a CPA designation for over 30 years, but there's lots of people who have a CPA designation and not all of them are equal, right? And so it also helps, to Mike's point, get some clarity on, sorry for the pun, who you should be working with to get to understand what's really going on. And Mike, your point is well taken in its broadest sense. We should all be thinking very hard about what can we really deliver with confidence and with quality, and what in the hell should we be partnering with other people on, because we don't know, we know enough to to sound smart, but we don't know the details behind it, right? And so that this is a dangerous area that I'm sure all of us, I see it all the time out in the marketplace, people saying they can do things that we know they can't.
Hey, Eric, like, if I was like a friend of mine from Wisconsin, I would now share an analogy. The analogy that my friend in Wisconsin would share is, it's kind of like going to the ski resort. Like, just because you could get on the chairlift to the Double Black Diamond doesn't mean you should ski down that hill.
And have a brand new pair of the best skis that are made doesn't make you a great skier. Yeah.
Now, I'm someone that has done that, and it was not good.
and not
Yeah.
bueno.
No.
Yeah. I'm not going to tell that story. So me too. Let's just leave it there. It's a very funny story.
I've been struggling with something in this
Please.
because if I'm a buyer, do I want to buy an 85 class company, or do I want to buy a 40% company that I know I can improve and get and turn it in 3 years?
Like, yes, Paul. Yes, Paul. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul
That's-
Mennick.
Like,
Boom.
you want to buy cash flow that you feel is certain, or do you want, are you good enough at what you do? And the way I looked at it, Paul, and this is really, so glad you said it. But I think for strategic buyers, because of their deep expertise within a particular vertical or industry or segment, they're looking for 40s because they know they can do it.
That okay, man.
I think
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, the financial buyers too. I might have a poor bias in my head right now because I just read a 300-page book on private equity. And all I got out of private equity was finance and structuring the deal and how I can over leverage this company and basically kill it in the process.
And private equity. So thank you, Paul. Perfect. Not a segue. Perfect expansion of the conversation. I'm going to make let's just use three private capital market models. One, buy, grow, sell. There's buy, plaster on, grow through acquisition, sell. Great. There's minority stake. Let's take our friend Andrew Sachs at Malaloa, right? Minority stake, non-exit, long-term. They're looking for an annuity stream. And now they are highly interested in an 85. They're like, we'll recapitalize. We'll let you take some chips. We'll help you. We'll give you the chips. Take them off the table. Well, you're going to keep running the business, and we're just going to collect some cash. And when you sell it, we're going to benefit. Great. And then the third, private equity is screaming into the debt markets, right? Who was I just discussing this with? Who, someone was just, by the way, I have a source of private equity lending for quality businesses. So if you have a client who is looking to perhaps, I'm going to use the word factor, but they're looking to accelerate some cash flow, I have a source. Call me on my phone. I'm happy to make the introduction, and I do not have a dog in the fight. All I will do is say, call this guy. Okay. Now, private equity is rushing into debt. What does debt care about? 85. What does minority share? 70, 80, 85. What does traditional PE care about? They're very happy to say, hey, man, we are looking for manufacturing businesses in this sector that have 20 million or more of gross annual revenue, and we're willing to take, and this is where the conversation changes. And our risk tolerance is strategic capacity of 60 and above. Now we know as a seller, right? Well, now the market knows like, oh, Tim is looking to give money to, we know what we're dealing with. And when we say 60, everyone on this call knows about where the flies in the ointment are going to be.
Yeah,
It changes the entire narrative. Paul, perfect. Thank you.
Paul, I think there's even another layer of this. If I'm a buyer, I don't just want to know the strategic capacity, and I know that's not what you're implying, George, but that's kind of, we're having a little of that discussion. I want to know where the things are.
Yes.
Is this a management team problem, or is this a sales process problem? I may love sales process problems because my last name rhymes with Garrison, and I'm going to fix it, right? And I know how to fix that problem, and I love buying those kind of companies because if that's all that's wrong with them, I'm going to turn them into gold.
That better be all that's wrong.
And by the way, Eric, I'm going to amplify for a moment. We have strategic capacity across the three dimensions. So you might have you might be like, I need dimension 1 to be a 70. Dimension 2, I'm willing to take some weakness. It's a
George, I was going down this exact path. It's not just the holistic score. I want to know they got great profit and cash flow. maybe I'm okay if they aren't greatly scalable because I'm going to make them scalable. Maybe I need them to be mostly scalable, but I'm okay with a couple of those components not being there because I bring those components. But
Yes.
what the mistake I think that gets made so often that we don't figure out, and it's been said on this call already, all the way until we're in the middle, deep into due diligence, is I don't really know what's wrong with every company. Has something wrong with it, guys. Every company has something wrong with it. What's wrong with this one? And until I understand what's wrong with this one, I don't know whether I want it or not. And
I think
if
that's the
we can
advantage.
surface that at least at a higher level earlier in the conversation, then we filter better on potential buyers, because the ones who don't want to do plumbing work aren't going to buy my house, right? And
It's so beautiful, Eric, because I just got back from an industry roundtable, financial services industry roundtable, and it they they were talking about business owners and challenges, and we had the guy that runs the entire Raymond James program, which is designed to keep us out, frankly, right?
Yeah.
But something that came up in a sidebar was we got into a conversation about strategic buying, and I said, hey, like I think that we should also talk about strategic selling, and that one of the challenges that sophisticated financial advisors that are growth drivers or SEPAs at a higher level, one of the things that I don't hear them talking about when growing a business is looking for strategic. This is something George and I have waxed on about for a while, is strategic PE. Identifying using strategic capacity where you have an area that is not, where there's more friction than you can perhaps overcome. Maybe you don't have enough cash flow. Maybe you're not a great leader or whatever, and go find that PE firm that loves your industry, that has institutional expertise in-house that they can bring immediately. George, I think that was the first thing I talked to you about when I saw this paper. Remember, I was like, hey,
100%.
this to me seems like we can start having a conversation about strategic selling through PE that's virtuous and appropriate.
And think about, okay, guys, think about
I
PE.
just haven't
They
had
have
time
to
to talk.
install an operator, right? What
Hey,
kind of
Eric,
operator? If you want, go ahead.
real quick, Eric, the only reason that we just haven't had time, but you and I are going to talk about that. That's
yeah, great.
Awesome. If you're trying to pick among operators, if you understand at a granular level who you might plug into this opportunity, or who you want to look at it alongside you, imagine the strength of understanding strategic capacity at the level 2, at the granular level. And shoot, God bless, I lost my thought. All right, well, it's just it'll come back. That's
Yeah.
brain
Look,
fog.
this is such a huge thing, and I'd really like to get everybody's take on it, because I think to a certain extent we all have. I've benefited even within the training and development space because of this, right? Now I also suffered as a result when my son was in a hospital, but Ivan Meisner and I became partners because I didn't have the reach. I had world changing stuff that affected BNI across the globe and ended up being a franchise, but I didn't have the finances or the publishing reach. By going to Ivan, pitching him this idea, and then writing a #1 bestseller with him, I was able to do all this. I didn't do the contract well though. So, oh well.
Sorry, man. That is sad.
But this stuff works. Finding that right
does.
person, and using what they're good at in your niche.
Well, and not all private equity, those of us on the outside need to understand that not all private equity is not, it's perhaps created equal, but they're not, they all have they have their preferences. They have where they want to play. Another topic that we might throw into the ring is, guys, imagine your sales, your business development opportunities, talking to a variety of players in the market rather than the business owners. How about going wholesale and talking to the people who work with the business owners and saying, hey, man, read this white paper. You can use AI, but read this white paper, read some excerpt, read some part, read my take on it. And that's what I can do for you.
Yeah, if you're not compelling,
Not for free, by the way.
if you're not compelling, right now in conversations with M&A professionals, that's a growth opportunity for you, right? Because I see a sharp demarcation in my growth as an advisor pre deep interaction with M&A professionals, Bob Goldsmith, Jim Mullins, guys like that, and post. Being able to understand what concerns them about what we all do, understanding the insurance risks, and then I've changed my entire sequence of how I do everything I do as a direct result. And it's accretive. The results are huge. But that I would say to anybody on the call that perhaps is not comfortable talking to M&A, number one, you've got a ton to offer them. Number two, this white paper is a bridge. It's a bridge from where you are in your confidence right now and how you talk to M&A to where you can be.
Yeah.
What if, Mike, you're from Wisconsin and you're just not compelling at all?
Well, you would not be Eric Owen.
Amen. Yep.
Right? You would be other people I'm thinking of from Wisconsin.
There's nobody else in Wisconsin except me. I'm the only resident of Wisconsin.
It's right. Currently. Well, Laura, I was thinking of. Which,
well, that's true. My wife does live here.
Yeah.
I used to be from Wisconsin.
I love fishing in Wisconsin.
See,
Hey,
most people are like Ed or Tim. They've been to Wisconsin or they lived in Wisconsin at one point and they moved away.
Hey, we haven't heard from Teresa and Silvana this morning.
George, I want to hit back on this thing. Like, we talk about growth driving, and I'm talking to you as a 30-year business coach, and I'm talking to you about cognitive and emotional fatigue for business owners. Don't ignore the opportunity that this type of conversation about strategic relationships with PE can bring to a business owner. Like, sometimes them saying, okay, yeah, we're going to grind again and we're going to hire more sales. Like, sometimes the better way to gain trust with that business owner is present a strategy for growth that doesn't necessarily involve exactly what they did to get where they are.
You know, that's a great point, and I'll take 1 minute. Guys, when we point at, and I this is part of the keynote I give the most often, when we point at this 20% success rate for M&A, which is actually overstating it, then the implication is, and be more like the 20%. Well, that's baloney. What we really need is to create an asset class business where the business owner has gone from being the operator to being the CEO to being the chairman. They have exited the accountabilities chart. What is more valuable than a business that continues to grow when the founder has exited the accountabilities chart? How many options does that person have? They have them all, every option. You want to liquidate? Great, but they have all the options. And imagine sitting down and rather than saying, I can help you grow, they think they already know how to, by the way. They're going to work hard and they're going to double revenue next year. We've all heard it. I'm guilty, right? If you say, hey, this is different. What have you ever thought of your business as an asset? Have you ever thought about what it might take to take your business from where it is today to an asset class? We all joke a little bit about asking a business owner, well, do you tell me, boss, would you buy your business? Because the answer is typically, a sly smile and a hell no. So this is a very different conversation. Thanks, Mike. I kept it under a minute.
Silvana's microphone is off.
Silvana is on. Hey, how are you, Silvana? Good to see you.
We haven't seen
Teresa,
her in
great to see you
ages.
as well.
I'm
to see
doing
everyone.
great. Nice to see everyone. Nice to see you, Mike. I know you've been whirlwind. Love the book, the new one. So congrats.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Something that you said today, well, we've talked about it, George, but the way you put it right now, I think I need to probably quote it. You said, a CEO that graduated the accountability chart.
Yeah.
That's a nice way to put it, because there is so many different ways of talking to the CEOs. Some of them don't even know how to exist outside of the accountability chart and the sound of being where they feel more comfortable. It is a behavior that pulls them back. all the time. So putting it that way and connecting it with the value of the company or the ability, the opportunity to sell or to convey that they are ready for sell, I think that's very important. So I'll use that. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Silvana. Let me know how it goes, and I'm great. I'm glad that you got some value.
By the way, I might have a couple of companies that might be very interested on the PE
Great.
and debt and everything. Yeah. So thanks.
When, when you said exiting the accountability chart and a growth company that can produce sustainable profits and sustainable growth, it made me think about Tim at Apple, COO, CEO, now chairman in a month or so. You know, what's the strategic capacity of Apple? I'll bet it's pretty damn good.
Well, we will end up. You know, there are some much larger businesses now in the data stack or in the data set, and it's interesting to see those businesses staying active, and they're the implication. I haven't talked to them, right? But the implication is they're getting value, that their advisor or their growth driver is delivering value, and that they respect that value and are engaged. Some interesting things going on. I bet Apple's strategic. One thing, quick comment. You know what Apple has that most private business owners don't understand the power of? Transparency. What do we know about Apple? What do we know about Coca-Cola? What do we know about NVIDIA? Essentially everything. Everything. We know it all, right? We may not be able to, as a competitor, be able to replicate it. We don't know Coca-Cola's secret sauce, but transparency is I'm hoping that we are also successful over the long term in helping the private capital markets, private businesses understand the incredible superpower of transparency.
Well,
But it takes strength to be transparent, right?
Yeah, I would argue, George, that their transparency is a key component of their brand, right? That their brand is made up of all the things we would normally put in the brand, and the fact that they're very transparent. That's part of their brand.
I love that, Eric, because brand is the outward manifestation of culture.
Yeah.
Heck yes.
Yeah.
Love it, Eric.
Well, on the brand thing, Gary Vaynerchuk, hopefully you guys have heard of Gary V.
Yeah.
Marketing genius.
Friend of mine just went and shot his
yeah, you told me.
Shot him last week.
Something that Gary V has been talking about, and I am positive that all of us have kind of nodded our head but not really understood, is within 10 years, your personal brand is to be so much more important than your corporate brand for everyone in this room. And like, I have been haranguing, and I mean haranguing George on this.
Yes. And Mike, did I bring up the arts this morning?
You did. You did. But you did.
I'd like to amplify it. Mike has been haranguing me. Actually, since we first met, right? And it's just gotten a lot louder. But I'm talking.
How's that possible?
With Jimmy. Jimmy's going to be in
our. You, Wonky. I heard you, Ed. I'm going to see you in October, buddy.
I've had several conversations recently with guests on a podcast. I'm going to be on a podcast on Friday where our friends at the Authority Company, Forbes Books, etc. Forbes Books, Sundance, South by South, and they have a bunch of imprints. Doesn't matter. Personal brand and personal authority are critical, and there's this emerging consciousness that establishing your personal brand amplifies your business's brand.
Yeah, well, personal brand is different from personal authority, and here's the thing: it's an interest game. It's no longer email or connection. Like the game at large in AI, and whether you like it or not, AI is incredibly important in this game because of consumer behavior, right? Your interests are more powerful. Like, everybody kind of laughs at, like, oh, Mike always talks about fly fishing and autism. Almost all of my clients are because of the time and energy I have put in on social media sharing about why those things are so important to me. It's not I love fly fishing. It's I love fly fishing because it helped me not commit suicide, right? When I talk about autism, it's like, this is why I'm a different coach than a lot of different people because of what I've been through, right? And like, I cannot, and this is, I was smoking George on this. I'm like, did you guys know that George is one of the foremost gunsmith experts that you will ever have access to? Who knew that? I did. George, you blinkety blank, right? So like these aspects of
We have walnut.
a different conversation. But these aspects of who you are is absolutely how AI is going to make decisions about who gets access to your content. And I'm not talking about the bottom 20% of the buying process here, where you're fighting for all the advertising and all that shit. I'm talking about the ability for ideal client profile prospects to be visually connected to who you are and what you're about before you know they exist. And that then amplifying trust building and sales velocity, including referrals, right? So those fly fishing and autism accelerate my referral sales process. Folks, you have got to get out of, I post something and it's going to go to my people. Those days are over. It's only going to go to the people that are interested in it, which is the same thing with referrals. You're only going to get referrals because of your personal brand, because of the fact that that client, right, or that COI remembers you, cares about you, and wants to help you. And it's not because of what you do, it's because of who you are. So the analog and digital worlds are kind of coalescing into this interest economy. I cannot stress to you how much advantage that you still can gain. Like I've been on the Vanguard for a long time. Join me.
I have to say, Mike, I check your post regularly and it makes me smile because I haven't followed everybody here, but you are the embodiment what you're just talking about in a regular basis. So thank you for reminding me every other time, every 2 days or 3 days that you talk about. I'm like, okay, Silvana, this is the gap.
Yeah.
Up skill, up the game.
And thank you, Mike. Thank you. Hey, guys, we have 10 minutes left, and what a beefy conversation we just had.
Pick on Teresa and Tim.
Could we? Yeah, Teresa's going to talk. She's about to, because Teresa is going to be the first. We always cut ourselves short with key takeaways, which are so rich. So I'm going to hit Teresa up. If you're able to unmute and chat, Teresa, good down. You can thumbs down and be like, no. Here she is. Ladies and gentlemen, Teresa Galino. Teresa.
Hello,
Great
everyone.
to see you.
Our Orlando Flash.
Yes, everything is great in Orlando here in Lake Nona. I am 6 months into doing what you were talking about, George, is just and Mike, I'll say on the brand side of it. Evaluating when it's the right time to strike for that strategic growth decision and not going too early like the bull in the china shop, right? So I've just been really observing silently, strategically, and thinking through an opportunity in several different clients. And I think landing back where Mike mentioned is, after being and doing remodeling and construction and houses for the last 10 to 11 years, how do I roll that in from an architect perspective here with Growth Drive and just, parlaying the whole thing, right? So every conversation here is worth it when we show up on Tuesdays. So I still appreciate the group consistency, and coming in here year after year is going to be my goals to continue. So rich conversation today. I think a really great conversation. Sorry, I've missed the last few, and I'm going to turn it over to Ed.
Mr. Waukee. Thank you, Teresa.
My pleasure.
Yeah, I think Teresa hits us with a very important thing, and that is you have to periodically reassess where you are. And as a matter of fact, I have been diligently doing that over the last, I guess, 2 to 3 weeks. I have a motivator in the form of my son in Atlanta, who we'll probably hear about sometime later this summer. But he's forced me to have to go back and relook at my website. He said, the fact that it was put up in 2004 and has only 2004 phone number, mailing address, etc., it's no wonder you're not getting any referrals from those people who are just looking on your name and they can't even reach you. So I guess, as Teresa said, she's redone. I am redoing myself, and hopefully in the next week or so, we'll get it up and operational to change it back into a more meaningful position.
Awesome.
Hey,
Thanks.
Tim, I'll send it over to you.
Tim designed
Thank
the
you.
website.
I gotta say, I want to thank Professor Weevil and Dr. Sandman here for taking the time and energy, having the vision to create this next white paper. I think it really ups our orbit to just an even higher level. It gives us here in Baltimore the capability of having a credible conversation, getting the attention of the people who have big books of business owner clients, as opposed to or in lieu of us running down business owners in the wild that may be interested in what we have to offer, by making a clear statement of how we can help them pre and post LOI, whether they're on the sell side or the buy side they're representing. They're going to want to plug us in. So I really appreciate that. I'm still getting my hands around exactly how to present it, but I found it stunning. Thank you for the work.
Thank you, Tim.
And I'll toss it to Eric.
I'm struck by the conversation about the process of selling and how we can impact something that's essentially selling businesses is thousands of years old, right? This isn't brand new stuff. How we do it now has evolved certainly in the recent past, but this could be revolutionary in terms like the earnings measures could be revolutionary in terms of how people present their businesses and differential in the marketplace. So I'm struck by the idea and the concept, and I love leaning into the idea. Just curious. I'm interested to see how it plays out and how we can impact. How do you start this in with it? It Some of these trends often start with the bigger companies adopting things like quality of earnings, and it trickles down into the middle market, right? And I'm curious how this one's going to go, right? This one might be more of a middle market thing because often the bigger companies have enough information out there for people to make those decisions early. So it might be the thing that makes middle market companies more transparent, like large companies already are.
Agreed. Thank you, Eric.
Yeah.
I agree.
I was also thinking quite a bit about how I don't have enough brand and fiber in my diet, so I'm going to start eating more cereal.
Fiber one.
Who are you going to talk to, Eric?
I want to grow up to be a strong boy like Tim. Silvana.
Okay. I missed the beginning of the sale conversation, so I'm going to go and listen to that. However, I did catch towards the end. I love what Mike said about the strategic sale and that basically that mindset. I love that, and I've been part of a couple of small M&A deals where it was intentful to find to sell to a company that was a good fit, and it was proactive from the company owner and our team to make that happen that way versus to just be passively waiting for somebody to choose you. And that particular concept really speaks to me. So I would like to, hopefully we can talk more about that and what are our current experiences in that space. And this was a great conversation.
Thanks, Silvana. Paul, that you are center of the screen.
The Brady
And
Bunch.
you're our cleanup hitter, man.
Oh, wow. What I picked up more than anything else was that there's some more things I could be doing with that white paper than I had given any thought, other than just collecting it in my head. Being able to send it out to some people makes a whole lot of sense. I have one client I've been with for a year and a half now, and I want to move it from kind of a specific topic to helping them with their next strategic plan, which they'll be beginning kind of next month probably. So I can use that as part of that. Then Tim, you had completed your sessions where you had George visit and talk to a dozen people in a room and things like that. I'm waiting for our country club to finish some repair work, so the meeting room that I want to use will be available and not noisy, and that'll be done in July. So I'm looking forward to probably starting up in September, some sort of a weekly monthly meeting there with people, and whether they show up or I do it over the internet or whatever, something where people can regularly come. So gives me some ideas of how to structure that, materials to use, and things that I can do there. So always something to learn here in the mornings.
I'll be happy, Paul, to come out to your country club and talk on underwater basket weaving, which is my equivalent to fly fishing that Mike has.
I'm not sure how to. This is Portland. There might be a market for.
I'm telling you, it's the next hottest thing.
You know what's funny is in grade school we actually did underwater basket weaving because but you have to soak. Doesn't matter. You have to soak.
You got to soak the
and if you actually
why not just keep them underwater
while it's just,
right? Exactly.
So it's actually a thing. Hippie child of the 70s.
See, I learned something new now. I did not know it was a real thing.
George, what's your takeaway?
My takeaway? You guys give me so much to think about. I love Paul made several points that I thought were really good ones. Eric, you got a 5?
Yeah.
Some really good ones. And it gets me thinking about, because it's your engineer's brain, right?
That's my personal brand, I guess.
Yeah. Hey, it's a good one, but a lot to think about, and the emanation. So if this is a pebble in the pond, how do we this is, Eric said it, this is an opportunity for the market, and it is I believe, a compelling opportunity, and the reactions I'm getting from some significant people are very, very positive.
Yeah.
Now, a pat on the back is just that, but
yeah, M&A is not using the other software products, and if we can become credible and used by a
well, and teaser alert, guys, there's a major overhaul of not only the user interface. We're about to release the Anthropic add into our AI. There's a major overhaul, not simply of the user interface, a whole new look, but we're actually going down deeper a layer, and I'll just tease it there to make you even more relevant to your collaborators and your clients. So if you're not using Claire to generate deliverables, you're missing an opportunity, and always evolving, right? Always evolving. So
George, I'm gonna ping you about the portfolio portion of it. That's all.
The portfolio portion of the, yeah, you like that, huh? Yeah.
Well, I have some interest in that space, so I just from other people, so I just want to make sure that I see the latest.
Okay, awesome. I'm happy to meet with you. Okay, Tim, I'll see you tomorrow. Ed, Tim, I'm going to call you. Ed, thank you. Teresa, thank you. Paul, thank you.
Nice seeing everyone.
Al, Frank, Mike, everyone up in the booth. Have a great week. If there's anything I can do to help, call me, please.
Thanks.
Okay? Thank you, guys. See you next week. Bye.